Well, it's that time of the month again. It's time to find out what happened in the real estate market across our part of Simcoe County. I'm Elroy Brower with Realty Executives, and every month I'd like to take a quick look at what's happening with detached homes in 6 areas I spent a lot of time working in. We're looking at Springwater, Midland, Tiny Township, Wasaga Beach, Ormadante, and Barrie. And don't worry, I'm not going to throw a pile of confusing real estate statistics at you and expect you to figure out what they mean. I've done the math because apparently that's part of my job. And I'm a Dutchman. Let's start in Springwater. This month, there were 181 detached homes on the market. Of those, 29 actually sold. So 6 months of inventory in June. When I say 6 months of inventory, I'm referring to how long it would take to sell every available home at the current sales pace if all the realtors and the builders stopped listing anything new tomorrow morning. It would be 6 months before we ran out of homes to sell. Oh, and the average sale price was $1,063,000. So if you're a homeowner in Springwater wondering what your house might be worth, that's a pretty good place to start. Of course, your house isn't necessarily average. Unless your house looks exactly like every other house in Springwater, in which case we probably need to talk about that. Next up is Midland. There were 159 detached homes on the market with 16 sales. So during the month, so 10 months of inventory, the average sale price came in at $663,000. Midland continues to be an interesting market because buyers can get a lot of house for the money compared with some of the larger urban centers. And if you're wondering whether buyers are still willing to make the trip to Midland, the answer appears to be yes. Because 16 homeowners managed to convince someone to hand over a check. Now, let's head over to Tiny Township. And yes, despite the name, the properties aren't necessarily tiny. This month, there were 223 detached homes on the market, 21 sold. So 10 months of inventory at the current sales pace if realtors and builders stopped listing anything new tomorrow morning. And the average sale price was $845,000. Tiny is always an interesting market because you're dealing with everything from rural properties to waterfront homes and everything in between, which means comparing one property to another can be a little bit like a fishing boat to a Ferrari. Both are great, but you probably don't want to take the Ferrari fishing. Next stop up was Wasaga Beach. There were 398 detached homes available and 88 sold during the month, so slightly over 4 months of inventory here. The average sale price was $677,000. Wasaga continues to attract buyers looking for everything from year-round homes to recreational properties, and of course there's always the beach, which is probably one of the few places where people will happily pay more just because they can see sand. Moving east, let's look at Ormadante. There were 200 detached homes on the market, 37 sold. So, roughly 5 months inventory, which an average sale price, $967,000. Ormadante is a fascinating market because you can go from a beautiful country property to a ski area home to a luxury estate pretty quickly, which makes the phrase average sale price interesting because I'm not sure there's anything particularly average about some of the homes around here. And finally, we get Barrie. This month, there were 949 detached homes on the market, 191 sold, so 5 months of inventory here as well, and the average sale price was $654,000. Barrie's obviously one of the largest and most active markets in the area, so there's plenty happening. And while the headlines might tell you whether the market's hot, cold, cooling, heating up, or apparently suffering from some sort of real estate weather system, I prefer to look at the actual numbers. So, what does all of this tell us? Well, the biggest thing to remember is that real estate isn't one market. Springwater is in Barrie, Barrie is in Tiny Township, and Tiny certainly isn't Midland. Different communities, different properties, different buyers, different results. That's why I don't think one headline or one average number can tell you what your particular property is worth. So, that's your monthly real estate snapshot for June 2026. 6 communities, detached homes, how many were available, how many sold, and what the average sale price was. And if you're wondering what all these numbers mean for your house, That's where things get a little more interesting or complicated, whichever way you look at that, because I can take a look at your neighborhood, your property, recent comparable sales, and what's currently competing with you on the market. No obligation, no sales pitch, and I promise not to make you sit through a 47 PowerPoint slide presentation, although Stitch might have some opinions. Actually, he thinks every house is worth more if it comes with treats. He may not be wrong. I'm Elroy Brower with Realty Executives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month with another look at what's happening in the local real estate market. Want to know what your home's worth? Send me a message. Click the link. Follow me for next month's market update.